Last section of section 5, the learning phase. I've put together this 4-week meeting structure as an example for you to use, whether you're actually doing it 4 weeks, 8 meetings, or you're going to condense it. I'm just giving you all the topics that you would need to go into section 6, which is month 2, the building phase. This is information you'll take into those meetings and you'll share this information with clients. You will have meeting by meeting structure, which will turn into just questions and topics that lead the discussion so that you can start building. So if you look at the PDF, I've got a link here. You click it, and that brings you into the 4-week, 8 meeting structure. So let's just cruise through these real quick. So meeting 1, current content analysis. So you're going to actually go through it and you're going to analyze all their content, right? You're going to look at past results. You're going to look at current results, discuss what has worked well and what hasn't, identifying content patterns, strengths, and areas of improvement. Zoom this in. Meeting 2, initial recommendations and deliverables. So here our goal is to share high-level recommendations and introduce potential deliverables. You can refer back to those. The description, based on insights from past successes and challenges, present a preliminary content strategy highlighting deliverables that align with their brand's needs. So this goes back to the deliverables section. We're going to find out what they're already doing, what they've failed at, what they've had success with. Then we're going to recommend what they should do if they don't have those things to help them fix or improve on what they've been doing in the past. Meeting 3, content goals and vision alignment. So we're going to clarify content goals and the vision, where we want to get, what we want to accomplish in this partnership. We're going to explore long-term goals, branding, lead generation, ensure that all the deliverables we've recommended align with the unique business vision. So it all ties together. Meeting 4, brand voice and audience deep dive. So we got to understand our client's audience. That's number 1. Who are we speaking to? So we got to define the brand voice and audience. Discuss tone, messaging, and demographics to shape authentic, effective content. As an extra, it's also a great time to start gathering brand assets such as fonts, brand guidelines, book, logos, PNGs, etc. Before you start getting into the work and be like, oh shoot, we have a deadline and we now need the fonts. It's always a challenge. So start to gather these assets early because you're going to use them. Get familiar with the brand guidelines book. Get every logo variation that they have. Get all the fonts. These are all things that you're going to need when you're actually editing and creating content. Meeting 5, competitor analysis and market positioning. So position your content with the competitive landscape. So you're going to look at competitors. You're going to look, this is one of my favorite things to do, is get into Meta Ads get into Meta Ads library and go and look at who they're competing with. What kind of videos are those companies doing? Take a good long look at what, I actually talk about that right there. So evaluate competitors and identify deliverables that reinforce your brand's market edge. What's working for other people? So like I said, I'm a huge fan of going to Meta Ads library and checking out the ads that other companies are running. Meeting 6, finalizing deliverable and pricing. So at this point, you've talked about the deliverables, you've presented pricing options, you've now learned what they need. It's time to start to talk about what the pricing is going to look like. So confirm specific deliverables and introduce pricing options. Discuss agreed upon content types and quantities. So not only deliverables, but how much. Introducing a tailored pricing structure. So you're going to take our pricing structures, depending on the size, start putting it together. So as an example, to do this, I will take our hourly individual pricing structure, which I just talked about in the last video, and start adding together deliverables and content needs. The idea is to add everything together, but then figure out a discount as a bulk pricing package they will pay for monthly. Individual pricing sheet linked. So I'll link that sheet that we looked at. Basically, if they're doing small projects, you're charging those hourly rates, right? Those are going to be charged at true and tried pricing. If they're going to get a retainer, that's essentially buying in bulk. So we're going to figure out a discount while also making sure our margins are still healthy. Talked a lot about margins. Really healthy margins are 70%. Like you're charging $100 for every hour, you're paying only $30 for that hour. You're making $70. That's super healthy. There's room for profit after your expenses. My margins start to shrink as talent gets better, right? I explain that. But the more you stack on work, the more your margins spread. So then you want to add a discount to help the client by spending more. We want to make sure we do that. All right, meeting 7 is the process, workflow integration, and final budgeting. So align on content processes and finalize budget based on deliverables. So we're just refining what we did in meeting 6. Review systems for content production and posting schedules, fine-tuning the budget to deliverables and workflow. This meeting is a good time to figure out how they would like to set up the payment. So talk about, do they have an accounts payable system? Are they just wanting to collect a link? Do they want you to send PDF invoices? Do they want you to send online invoices with a payment link for bank accounts or a credit card? And knowing that if you do a credit card, there's going to be a 3% fee that you're going to add to that. So these are all things that you need to know, and we want to make sure we finalize. And then during all this, we haven't touched on it one time, but contracts, super important. This is when you're going to be able to present a contract to them and review it. Essentially, it's just putting everything that you've been talking about into a contract so that it's all in writing, it's agreed upon, and I have a production contract that I will share with you that you can actually download and adjust as you work with each client, because each contract is going to be the same as far as the legal stuff, but then there's going to be the work, and you need to make sure that that's clear and changed for each client. So this is where you're going to be reviewing that, and then you need to make any changes that don't align with maybe what you talked about. And this is why these meetings are important, is to be clear and transparent. So last meeting 8, partnership roadmap and next steps. Solidify the path forward and aligned expectations. So now it's like, cool, we agree. Let's get that contract signed. Let's get that first deposit payment in there. And let's say it's a smaller client and they don't want that big retainer yet. We still want to make sure we collect a deposit. So if they are just spending $1,000, but we know that they want to work with us for 6 months, then let's get that deposit up front. It would be a $3,000 deposit to get started. But they're just like, hey, we want to just try you guys, and it's a $1,000 project. Just do the $1,000. And then hopefully by the next meeting, you'll be able to start adding retainer budgets to continued work. Present high-level content plan, timeline, and key roles each team will play, finalizing the retainer and setting the stage for long-term partnership. So at this point, you're also going to be solidifying your team, right? So as you've been talking about what they need, you're talking to your team members and you're starting to add together, okay, I need a filmmaker, I need a producer, I need a project manager, all these different things that will go into that budget each month. And they're now being implemented into the Asana, Slack systems that we have for the client to start using. Okay, well, that's the end of our learning phase. Thank you for getting through it with me. Now we're going to actually start building it. We're going to start using all this information and start building the team to produce the content for your client.